The small human colony on Lyra 9 was quiet that evening. The twin suns were slowly sinking behind the jagged purple mountains, casting long shadows over the settlement. The colonists, tired after a day of gathering supplies and maintaining their habitats, were starting to settle into their evening routines. Some prepared their meals, others shared stories in the common hall, and a few children played near the soft glowing plants that had been carefully cultivated around the colony. Then, out of nowhere, a faint hum reached their ears. It was soft at first, almost like a whisper carried by the wind, but it grew louder as a shimmer appeared near the colony entrance. Everyone paused, their curiosity mixing with caution. Humans were used to strange things in this part of the galaxy, but nothing like this had ever happened before. From the glowing light stepped a figure, slender, small, and distinctly alien. She had luminous skin that reflected the fading sunlight, and her eyes were large, deep, and filled with wonder. A faint silver glow traced the edges of her limbs, making her look almost ethereal. The colonists exchanged uncertain glances. Commander Doran stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "Identify yourself. Are you a threat?" The alien girl tilted her head, the hum in her chest growing slightly. She spoke, and her voice was soft but clear, melodic in a way that made everyone stop and listen. I am lost. I am Lyra." A wave of relief passed through the humans. She didn't sound aggressive or hostile. Instead, there was a curious innocence in her voice. Still, it was unusual to encounter an alien humanoid alone. Commander Doran motioned for the guards to lower their weapons. "We can help you," he said, "but you must follow our rules. This is a human colony, and we need to make sure you are safe, and we are safe too." Lyra nodded, her eyes widening as she looked around. She seemed fascinated by everything: the soft lights of the colony, the structure of the buildings, even the humans themselves. It was clear that she had never seen a human settlement before. She followed cautiously, moving with a grace that was almost like floating. Ethan, a young colonist who had been observing from the side, couldn't take his eyes off her. There was something about the way she tilted her head, the way her eyes took in everything at once, that made her seem more like a child discovering a new world than a stranger from another planet. When Commander Doran introduced him as someone who could help her settle in, she smiled, a small, radiant smile that made Ethan's heart skip a beat. Once inside the colony, Lyra's fascination grew. She wandered slowly through the common hall, touching objects gently, asking questions with innocent curiosity. "What is this?" she asked, pointing to a small tray of food set on a table. It was a simple meal: bread, roasted vegetables, and some fresh fruit. Ethan smiled, kneeling beside her. "That's our food," he explained. "Humans eat it to get energy and stay healthy. Want to try?" Lyra's eyes sparkled. "Try?" she asked, her voice rising slightly with excitement. She reached out hesitantly and touched a piece of bread. Her fingers brushed the crust and she lifted it to her lips. The moment she tasted it, her eyes widened even more. A soft hum escaped her lips, and she let out a small laugh. This is wonderful!" she exclaimed. The colonists stared, some of them confused, others amused. Ethan chuckled. "You like it?" Lyra nodded vigorously. "I have never tasted anything like this before. The flavor, it is alive." And with that, her obsession began. Over the next few days, Lyra explored every kind of human food the colony had. Bread, fruits, vegetables, cheese, and even spicy sauces. Every taste brought a new reaction. She would laugh, hum, or clap her hands with delight. The colonists quickly learned that if they wanted to make Lyra happy, they needed to provide her with more and more human foods. Ethan spent most of his free time with her, teaching her how to cook. He showed her how to mix ingredients, how to roast vegetables without burning them, and even how to make a simple stew. Lyra soaked up every lesson like a sponge. She would watch intently, her eyes following every movement, her hands mimicking his gestures. One evening, Ethan prepared a small surprise for her. He had baked a batch of simple chocolate cookies and placed them on a tray in the common hall. Lyra gasped when she saw them. "Chocolate cookies?" she asked, disbelief coloring her tone. Ethan nodded. "Yes, try one." Lyra picked up a cookie and took a small bite. Her eyes rolled back in delight. She let out a soft hum and laughed. This is beyond words. Humans are amazing." Her fascination with food was not just about taste, it was about understanding. She wanted to know why humans prepared meals the way they did, why flavors mattered, and why certain foods made people happy. Ethan explained that food was not only for survival, but also for comfort and connection. Lyra listened carefully, absorbing every word. Sometimes her enthusiasm led to funny accidents. Once, she mistook a jar of hot sauce for a beverage and took a large sip. She immediately coughed and sputtered, her face turning red as she waved her hands frantically. The colonists laughed and Ethan handed her some water. "Careful," he said, smiling. "That's very spicy for humans, too." Lyra wiped her mouth and laughed, the sound musical and pure. "Spicy, hot. Yes, I like this challenge." She returned to tasting the rest of the foods with even more determination. As the days passed, Lyra began experimenting on her own. She mixed human ingredients with small alien plants she had brought with her, creating unusual dishes that surprised everyone. Ethan tried a small sample of her latest creation and found it surprisingly tasty. The other colonists were curious and cautiously sampled her experiments. To everyone's surprise, many were delicious. Lyra was learning about human culture through food. Every bite, every flavor, every combination was a new lesson. She began keeping a small journal, writing notes in a language that glowed faintly on the page. She documented which flavors were strong, which textures were soft, and which combinations brought smiles to human faces. One evening, as the twin suns set and the sky turned deep violet, Lyra sneaked into the colony kitchen. She wanted to try a new combination of flavors before anyone noticed. She hummed softly as she mixed ingredients, tasting and adjusting. The aroma filled the small room, and for the first time, she felt a strange warmth in her chest, a feeling she could not describe, but that made her heart flutter. Ethan, who had come back to check on her, leaned against the doorway, smiling quietly. He didn't interrupt. He had learned that Lyra's curiosity and love for food were part of her nature, part of what made her unique. Watching her explore the world in this way was fascinating. Lyra finally noticed him and blushed faintly, her glow softening. I am learning," she said softly. "I want to understand humans, through their food." Ethan walked closer, kneeling beside her. "You're doing more than learning," he said gently. "You're teaching us, too. You're showing us the joy of experiencing something new." Lyra looked at him, her eyes wide and sincere. "Food is happiness. I think I understand humans a little when I taste their meals. I feel something I never felt on my planet." Ethan nodded, realizing that her fascination was more than curiosity. It was a bridge between worlds. Through something as simple as food, Lyra was connecting with humans, learning their emotions, their joys, and their way of life. That night, Lyra stayed in the kitchen until the stars were bright in the sky. She tasted, she experimented, and she hummed softly to herself, savoring every flavor, every new sensation. The colonists, watching from the common hall, could only smile. In their midst was a small alien girl, fascinated by the simple pleasures of human life, and in her joy, they saw a reflection of the beauty of connection. Lyra's journey had begun, and though she was far from home, she felt something she had never experienced before. Wonder, happiness, and a growing bond with the humans around her. Every meal was an adventure, and every flavor was a story waiting to be discovered. The twin suns disappeared below the horizon, leaving the colony bathed in the soft glow of the alien plants and the stars above. Lyra hummed one last note of delight before closing her eyes, dreaming of the flavors she would explore tomorrow. And as the humans slept peacefully, they knew that this small, curious alien girl had already changed their lives in ways they could not yet fully understand. The next morning, the colony awoke to the smell of something unusual wafting through the corridors. Lyra had spent the night experimenting in the kitchen, and the aroma of her latest creation filled every corner of the settlement. Humans, accustomed to their simple meals, were immediately curious. Ethan was the first to reach the kitchen. He found Lyra standing proudly in front of a tray, her eyes glowing softly as she watched him approach. On the tray were small round pastries filled with a strange mixture of human and alien ingredients. The crust was golden, slightly flaky, and the filling had a color he had never seen before, a soft, shimmering green that sparkled faintly. I made this for you," Lyra said softly, her hands clasped together. "It is my creation. Please, taste." Ethan picked one up carefully and took a small bite. The moment the flavors touched his tongue, his eyes widened. It was sweet and savory at the same time, with a faint tang he couldn't identify, yet it worked perfectly. He blinked in astonishment. This is incredible," he said. "Lyra, you're a natural." Lyra's hum of delight filled the room. "I learn from humans. I combine what I know with what I discover here." Word of her creation quickly spread through the colony. By mid-morning, a small group had gathered outside the kitchen, curious to see what the little alien girl was making. Some were skeptical, unsure if alien ingredients could be safe, but curiosity got the better of them. Ethan encouraged them to try, explaining that Lyra had been experimenting for days and that she was careful. One by one, the colonists sampled her pastries. Laughter and surprise echoed through the hall as they tried each bite. The flavors were unlike anything they had experienced before, familiar yet strange, comforting yet exciting. Even the most skeptical adults were forced to admit that Lyra had a remarkable talent. Lyra watched them carefully, her eyes sparkling. She wanted to understand more than just the physical taste. She wanted to know how the flavors made humans feel, what emotions they triggered, and how they reacted to combinations that were unusual or unexpected. Every smile, every laugh, every comment was a lesson for her. Ethan noticed that her fascination was deeper than just curiosity. She was not only learning about food, she was learning about humans. "You're really paying attention to how people feel," he said, kneeling beside her. Lyra nodded eagerly. "Food is more than flavor. Humans, emotions, happiness, connection. I want to understand. I want to feel it too." As the day progressed, Lyra's experiments grew bolder. She tried mixing spicy sauces with sweet fruits, adding small amounts of alien herbs to familiar dishes, and even attempting to replicate human desserts with her alien ingredients. Sometimes the results were strange, even inedible, but she never gave up. Each failure was a step toward understanding. One afternoon, she accidentally created a dish that was far too spicy. She took a large bite herself, expecting to enjoy it as always, but immediately started coughing and waving her hands. Her cheeks glowed red, and her hum turned into a small squeak. The colonists who had gathered to watch couldn't help but laugh, though they quickly handed her water. Lyra wiped her mouth, laughing along with them. "Too hot. Challenge accepted," she said, determination shining in her eyes. "I will master it next time." Ethan shook his head, smiling. You really love this, don't you? Lyra's glow softened and she nodded. Yes. Humans, their food. It is happiness. I want to understand, to share it, to create joy. Her obsession with food became a source of joy for the entire colony. Each day, more colonists joined her experiments, offering suggestions, ingredients, or simply cheering her on. Lyra responded to every comment with excitement, sometimes mixing their ideas into her dishes. The kitchen became a place of laughter, learning, and shared experience, bridging the gap between human and alien culture. One evening, Ethan noticed something new. Lyra was sitting quietly at the kitchen table, her hands folded, looking thoughtful. She had been unusually quiet that day, tasting her creations carefully and taking notes in her glowing journal. What's on your mind? Ethan asked gently. Lyra looked up, her eyes serious but soft. I think I understand humans more, through food, but I also feel something else. A feeling. I cannot explain. It is warm, and happy, and curious. All at once. Ethan smiled, understanding dawning on him. You're discovering more than taste, Lyra. You're discovering emotions, connections, and friendship. Food is just the start. Lyra nodded slowly. Yes. Yes, it is. But it is very important. I want to keep learning, to understand more. Every day. The next morning, Lyra decided to share her knowledge in a new way. She organized a small human feast, inviting everyone in the colony to taste her latest creations. There were small pastries, roasted vegetables with alien herbs, and even a sparkling drink that combined human juice with her alien essence. The colonists were curious but excited, eager to see what she had created. When the feast began, laughter and conversation filled the air. Lyra moved between tables, explaining each dish, sharing how she made it, and encouraging the humans to try new combinations. Some were hesitant at first, but with each bite, smiles appeared, and soon everyone was laughing and sharing their own reactions. Ethan watched her, amazed. Lyra had taken something as simple as food and turned it into a bridge between cultures. She was teaching the humans as much as they were teaching her. Every bite was an exchange of knowledge, every laugh a lesson in connection. Lyra's curiosity even extended to the children of the colony. They were fascinated by her glowing skin and large, expressive eyes, and she quickly became their favorite playmate. She taught them how to make simple snacks, showing them how flavors could change when combined in unexpected ways. The children's laughter and excitement only fueled her enthusiasm. One day, a small accident reminded everyone of just how unusual Lyra's fascination was. She had mixed a new spice from her home planet with a human dish, hoping to create something extraordinary. Ethan took a bite and immediately felt a strange warmth in his mouth, followed by a burst of flavor unlike anything he had ever tasted. "Lyra, this is incredible, but it's intense!" he exclaimed, fanning his mouth. Lyra laughed, her soft hum filling the room. "Yes, intense! Humans, you will learn to enjoy more. Challenge accepted." The colonists laughed, realizing that Lyra's obsession with human food was not just entertaining, but also inspiring. She encouraged everyone to experiment, to try new combinations, and to enjoy the process of discovery. For a colony used to routine meals, this was a breath of fresh air. Over time, Lyra's fascination with food began to reveal another side of her personality. She was not only curious and joyful, but also thoughtful and empathetic. She noticed how certain foods made people happy, how a favorite dish could brighten a difficult day, and how sharing meals created bonds. Her glowing journal filled with notes not only on taste, but on human emotions, connections, and expressions. One evening, Ethan found her sitting alone in the common hall, scribbling in her journal. He noticed her eyes were slightly sad, her glow dimmed. "Lyra, what is it?" he asked, kneeling beside her. She hesitated, then spoke softly. I enjoy food. I enjoy humans. But I wonder, can I truly belong here? My planet? I am different. I am not human. Will they accept me?" Ethan smiled reassuringly. "Lyra, look around you. Everyone here enjoys your company, your creations, your joy. You've taught us as much as we've taught you. Belonging isn't about being the same, it's about connection, and you are connected. Deeply." Lyra's glow brightened at his words. She hummed softly, feeling a warmth she had never felt before. Connection? Yes. I like that. Very much. That night she stayed longer in the kitchen, tasting, experimenting, and laughing softly to herself. She had learned so much already, but she knew there was still more to discover. Every flavor was a story, every meal a bridge, and every smile a lesson. Lyra's journey was only beginning, and the humans of Lyra 9 were fortunate to be part of it. The twin suns set once more, painting the sky with streaks of violet and gold. Lyra hummed happily, tasting a small piece of bread with an alien herb she had discovered that day. She closed her eyes, savoring the flavors, feeling a happiness she had never experienced before. Tomorrow, she knew, would bring more flavors, more experiments, and more lessons, not just about food, but about humans, emotions, and the joy of shared experiences. And as she drifted into sleep under the alien sky, she dreamed of a world filled with taste, laughter, and the warm glow of friendship. Days passed, and Lyra's fascination with human food grew deeper. It was no longer just about tasting and experimenting. She began to notice the emotions food brought to humans. A simple cup of tea could calm them, a warm bread roll could bring comfort, and sharing a meal could bring joy that was almost magical. She observed these things carefully, writing notes in her glowing journal and humming softly as she thought. Ethan watched her closely. He noticed how she would pause when a colonist smiled after tasting her creation, or how she would beam when a child laughed at a funny flavor combination. "You're not just learning about food, Lyra," he said one morning. "You're learning about humans, their happiness, their comfort, their way of connecting." Lyra nodded slowly, her large eyes shining. "Yes, food is more than taste. It is connection. It makes humans happy. And I want to understand fully." That evening, she invited Ethan to help her prepare something new. She had discovered a combination of flavors that she wanted to perfect. The two worked side by side, chopping, mixing, and tasting, laughing softly at their occasional mistakes. For the first time, Lyra seemed a little nervous, glancing at Ethan as if she wanted to say something important, but could not yet find the words. "Lyra, you seem thoughtful today," Ethan said gently. "Is something on your mind?" She hesitated, then nodded. I feel something. When I taste certain foods. Something warm, happy, and curious. I do not understand completely, but it is strong." Ethan smiled. He understood her partially, for he felt the same emotions when he cooked and shared meals with others. "That's wonderful, Lyra. You're feeling the joy humans experience when they share food. It's a very special feeling." Lyra looked down at her hands, glowing softly. "Special? Yes. Very special. But also strange. I feel more than hunger, more than curiosity. It is feeling humans, in a way I never thought possible." As the days went on, her fascination became more emotional. She started paying attention to how food brought comfort during difficult moments. When a colonist complained of missing home or feeling lonely, Lyra would prepare something small, simple, yet full of flavor, and watch as their expressions brightened. She began to understand that food was not just about nourishment. It was about care, attention, and love. One evening, after a long day of experimenting, Lyra and Ethan sat in the kitchen, exhausted but happy. Lyra had prepared a series of small dishes, each with a different combination of flavors. She had carefully recorded the reactions of every colonist who tried them. Ethan sampled one of the pastries, his eyes widening at the surprising combination of sweet and spicy. "This is amazing, Lyra. You really understand humans better than anyone I know." Lyra's glow brightened at his praise. Then, after a moment of hesitation, she spoke softly, almost as if confessing a secret. "Ethan, I think I like humans very much, not only food, but you, all of you, food. It is how I feel, humans, how I understand emotions. But I also feel happiness and warmth because of you." Ethan was taken aback. He had noticed her growing fondness for the colonists, but hearing her words made it real. Her voice was trembling slightly, but her large eyes were honest and open. "Lyra, that's beautiful," he said softly. "You're saying that food is how you connect, but it also makes you feel close to humans?" Lyra nodded, her glow pulsing gently. "Yes, close. I want to understand, not just taste, but hearts and feelings and joy. I want to belong and feel happiness, like humans feel." Ethan reached out and placed a hand gently on hers. "You do belong, Lyra. You've brought joy, laughter, and connection to everyone here. Through food, you've shown us your heart, and we've learned from you as well. You're part of this colony now." Lyra's eyes glistened with a faint glow as she hummed softly. "Part of humans. Yes, I am happy. I understand. More than ever. Happiness is shared. I see now." The next few days were full of laughter and discovery. Lyra's experiments became bolder, and she began combining alien and human ingredients in more creative ways. Some dishes were surprisingly delicious, while others were strange, but still brought smiles. The colonists began looking forward to her creations, and her joy became contagious. One afternoon, Lyra decided to host a small gathering in the common hall. She had prepared an assortment of dishes and invited everyone to try her new creations. There were colorful pastries, roasted vegetables with exotic herbs, and a sparkling drink that shimmered like starlight. The colonists gathered around, curious and excited. Lyra explained each dish, showing how flavors from her planet and theirs could come together to create something new. Everyone was laughing, tasting, and sharing their reactions. The room was filled with joy and warmth, a testament to the bond that had grown between the alien girl and the human colonists. During the gathering, Lyra noticed Ethan watching her from across the room. She felt a strange flutter in her chest, a feeling she could not name. She walked over to him, holding a small plate of her newest creation. "Try this," she said softly, her voice almost a whisper. It is my favorite so far. I want you to taste and tell me what you feel." Ethan took a bite, savoring the unexpected combination of flavors. His eyes widened in delight. "Lyra, this is incredible. I feel happiness, warmth, and wonder. You've captured something very special here." Lyra's glow brightened, and a soft hum escaped her lips. Yes, that is what I feel too. Happiness, connection, warmth, curiosity, all together. This is why I love food and humans. It is how I understand you. All." Ethan smiled, realizing that Lyra's fascination with food had transformed into something deeper. She was not just curious, she was learning about emotions, empathy, and connection. Through her love for food, she was discovering the essence of human life and sharing it with everyone around her. That night, Lyra sat alone in the kitchen, reflecting on everything she had experienced. She tasted a small piece of bread with alien herbs, letting the flavors mingle on her tongue. She hummed softly, her glow pulsing with quiet joy. "I understand more now," she whispered to herself. "Food, humans, emotions, joy, laughter, connection, warmth. I feel it all because of humans, and I I want to keep feeling, to keep learning." Her thoughts turned to the colonists, especially Ethan. She realized that her fascination with food had led her to something she had never expected: a deep bond with humans, a sense of belonging, and a feeling of joy that she could not find on her own planet. As she drifted to sleep under the alien sky, Lyra's final thought was clear and simple. She had discovered something extraordinary. Food was more than taste. It was a bridge between worlds, a way to connect hearts and emotions, and a path to understanding the humans she had come to love. The colony slept peacefully, unaware that the small alien girl among them had not only learned about human food, but had also uncovered the secret to happiness, connection, and friendship. Lyra's journey was far from over, but she had already taken a giant step toward understanding what it truly meant to be human. Through the joy of food and the warmth of shared experiences. And somewhere in her glowing heart, Lyra knew one thing for certain. The day would come when she would share not only food, but her true feelings with those she had grown to care for most deeply. The sun rose slowly over Lyra 9, casting a warm, golden light across the colony. Birds, small, metallic feathered creatures adapted to the planet, chirped as they flew above the settlement. The humans were already busy with their daily chores, but the excitement in the air was different that morning. Lyra had announced a grand feast, a celebration of flavors she had been creating for weeks, and everyone was eager to see what she had prepared. Ethan found Lyra in the kitchen early, humming softly as she arranged her creations. The glow from her skin seemed brighter than usual, a reflection of her excitement. She had spent the night carefully planning every dish, combining human and alien ingredients in ways that were daring and imaginative. "Good morning, Lyra," Ethan said, smiling. "You seem ready for this." Lyra turned toward him, her large eyes shining. "Yes, today. Everyone will taste. Everything I have learned. Everything I feel. Happiness, connection, joy. I want them to understand what I feel." Ethan nodded, understanding her intention. She was not just preparing food, she was sharing her heart. The feast would be a bridge between worlds, showing the colonists how curiosity, creativity, and joy could bring humans and aliens together. By mid-morning, the common hall was bustling. Tables were lined with colorful dishes, each one more intriguing than the last. There were pastries filled with shimmering alien fruits, roasted vegetables infused with glowing herbs, and drinks that sparkled like starlight. The colonists gathered around, their curiosity and excitement palpable. Lyra moved gracefully among the tables, explaining each dish. "This one is sweet and tangy. It is happiness," she said, gesturing toward a small pastry. "This one is spicy and warm. It is courage. And this drink, it is joy and laughter, together." The colonists laughed and marveled at the creativity. Many had never seen an alien combine flavors with such care, and the results were extraordinary. As they tasted, their faces lit up, their laughter filling the hall. Even the most cautious adults admitted that Lyra's creations were delicious and surprising. Ethan watched her with pride. She had transformed her fascination into something meaningful, something that brought the entire colony together. It was not just food, it was connection. Lyra noticed that the colonists were enjoying themselves, but she also wanted to make them feel something deeper. She encouraged everyone to experiment, to combine flavors, and to share their own creations. Soon the hall was filled with laughter, chatter, and the hum of excitement. Humans and alien ingredients mingled, creating a symphony of taste that reflected the unity Lyra had helped foster. During a quiet moment, Ethan approached her. "Lyra, look at them," he said softly. "You've done more than just make food. You've brought everyone together, and you've shown us how curiosity and joy can connect hearts." Lyra's glow brightened, and she hummed softly. "Yes, I understand. Humans more. Every day. Through taste, and laughter, and sharing. I feel part of you. Part of them. Part of happiness." The feast continued well into the afternoon. Children ran between tables, sampling dishes with wide-eyed wonder. Adults experimented with flavors, laughing at the unusual combinations. Every bite was a new discovery, and every laugh was a reminder of the joy Lyra had brought to their lives. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with hues of violet and gold, Lyra gathered everyone together. She spoke softly but clearly, her melodic voice capturing everyone's attention. "Humans, friends, I have learned something important. Food, it is not only taste, it is joy, it is connection, it is love and laughter. When I taste, when I share, I feel what it is to be human, what it is to feel happiness and friendship. I thank you for letting me learn, for letting me belong." There was silence for a moment as the colonists absorbed her words. Then applause and cheers filled the hall. They were not only celebrating the feast, but also the alien girl who had become a part of their lives. Her words had touched them deeply, revealing her understanding, empathy, and the heart behind her fascination with human food. Ethan smiled and stepped forward. "Lyra, you've done something amazing. You've shown us that understanding and connection can come from the simplest things. You've reminded us to enjoy, to share, and to laugh together. You are extraordinary." Lyra's glow pulsed brighter, and she hummed softly in delight. "Extraordinary. Yes, I feel extraordinary. Because of you, all of you, humans and friends, and joy together." The evening continued with music, laughter, and more tasting. Lyra moved among the colonists, explaining new combinations and encouraging experimentation. Her enthusiasm was contagious, and everyone found themselves enjoying flavors and combinations they had never imagined. Later, when the hall began to quiet down, Lyra and Ethan sat together near a window, looking out at the stars. The twin suns had disappeared below the horizon, leaving a blanket of purple and blue across the sky. The alien girl's glow reflected softly against the walls, her expression calm and thoughtful. "Ethan," she said softly, I have learned so much, not only about food, but about humans, about joy, about sharing, about connection. I feel happy because of this, because of you, because of everyone." Ethan smiled. "And we've learned from you, Lyra. You've shown us that curiosity, creativity, and joy can bring people together. You've reminded us to appreciate the little things, to taste, to laugh, to share." Lyra hummed, a soft, musical sound. "Yes, little things, big feelings, connection, happiness. I understand. Now, I belong here, and I feel part of something wonderful." As they sat together, the colony around them quiet but still glowing from the day's excitement, Lyra felt a warmth unlike any she had known. It was not from the food itself, nor from the light of the stars. It was from the connection she had built, from the joy she had shared, and from the understanding she had gained. Over the next few days, the colony returned to its routines. But the impact of Lyra's feast remained. Humans and alien ingredients continued to mix, experimentation became a regular part of life, and laughter filled the hallways more than ever before. Lyra continued to explore flavors, but now she also focused on sharing the lessons she had learned about joy, empathy, and connection. She spent time with the children, teaching them how to mix flavors and encouraging their curiosity. She helped adults refine recipes, showing how experimentation could lead to new experiences. And she always returned to Ethan, sharing thoughts, discoveries, and laughter. Their bond had deepened, built not only on shared experiences, but also on the understanding that Lyra's fascination with food was a window into her heart. One evening, as the twin suns set and the sky turned violet, Lyra stood at the edge of the colony looking up at the stars. She hummed softly, a sound of contentment and peace. She thought of her planet, of her journey to Lyra 9, and of everything she had experienced. I came here, lost, curious, and I discovered humans, food, happiness, connection, friendship, joy. I belong here. I am happy, and I will continue to learn and share, always. Ethan joined her, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. You've made this place brighter, Lyra. You've reminded us of the joy in small things and the power of sharing. We're lucky to have you. Lyra looked at him, her eyes glowing softly. Lucky? Yes. We are. All of us. Together. Humans and alien. Learning, sharing, happiness, and friendship. Forever. The night sky stretched endlessly above them, dotted with stars and distant planets. Lyra hummed softly, tasting a small piece of the bread she had baked earlier, savoring the flavors and the memories of shared meals, laughter, and lessons. She knew her journey was far from over. There would be new flavors to discover, new experiences to have, and new connections to build. But for now, she felt complete. Through food, she had discovered not only human culture, but also the joy of friendship, the warmth of connection, and the happiness of belonging. And in that small human colony on Lyra 9, an alien girl who had once been lost had found a home, a family, and a world of flavors that would never cease to amaze her. As Lyra and Ethan looked up at the stars together, the colony quiet but alive with happiness, Lyra whispered softly to herself, a gentle hum escaping her lips. Food, laughter, sharing, happiness, connection. This is life. This is joy. This is belonging. And with that, the alien girl closed her eyes, feeling the warmth of friendship and the comfort of acceptance, ready for whatever new adventures and flavors the future would bring. Word count: 1,030.